I don't know that there's a whole lot of agreement. Requesting the court for a final order. I believe Ms. Rose is going to be testifying, and believe her testimony is going to be, well, I guess we'll see what her testimony is. It's going to be, the testimony I believe is going to be somewhere in line with what the temporary order did. I think she's going to be asking for 4,000 and change in retro, or is going to get calculated 4,000 and change in retro. So I believe I'm going to be asking the court for a $75 repayment. I believe Miss Robinson is going to be adamantly opposed to adding Mr. Brown's name. I'll let her speak to that. And I believe the testimony is going to, like I said, is going to be that we haven't uncovered any evidence that Mr. Brown makes the money that he may have claimed to make in the past. So I don't believe Miss Robinson is going to be content with what I've found are my numbers, unfortunately. And I understand where she's coming from, but I don't know that I'm going to be able to make her happy on this one, unfortunately.
Okay. All right, Ms. Litem.
Yes, Your Honor. So I was appointed in this matter to represent the child, but also to look into the father's income. We were not able to establish any kind of contact with dad. My staff did attempt to reach out to both mom and dad. We were able to make contact with mom, but she made it abundantly clear she was not interested in talking to me. And she never actually directly spoke to me. She told my paralegal that she did not want to cooperate. So I don't have anything I can contribute because neither of the parties was cooperative with me.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Litem. All right, Mr. Robinson, here's the deal, ma'am. This is a court of law. I'm a lawyer. These other two people are lawyers. I'm going to follow the laws, ma'am. You can shake your head all you want, ma'am. Here's the bottom line. You had a child with this person. This person's the father. I've got to deal with it, and I got to deal with it in conformity with Texas law. So if you got a legal argument you want to make, ma'am, you're your own attorney. You can make it. But the bottom line is, you have to put on direct proof that is available to you. And whatever, and that's what the court has to go with. The norm is I'm supposed to order guideline child support based on what he earns. I'm supposed to set up some type of visitation package, and I'm supposed to go ahead and look at changing the child's last name to reflect of the father, because that's what Texas law says is in the best interest of the child. So, ma'am, we're going to rock and roll. We're going to get this taken care of. But again, what you want may not be in conformity with Texas law. And if what you want is in conformity, I'll grant it. But if it's not, I cannot. So here we go. Anyway, Ms. Robinson, you need to unmute yourself and raise your right hand, ma'am, and I'll swear you in. And CSO Rose testifying in this one also, Mr. Diamond?
Yes, Your Honor.
She's already under oath. All right, Ms. Robinson, do you solemnly swear or affirm your testimony you're going to give this court today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you, ma'am?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. And I'll let the state call this first witness. Thank you.
Call Brenda Rose, Your Honor. Ms. Rose, will you state your full name?
Brenda Rose.
Your Honor, I'm guessing that Ms. Rose has already been qualified to testify. So if it pleases the court, I'll skip those questions.
So she's already been qualified and she's already been sworn in a prior case. So we don't have to do that again. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Were you able to do a wage investigation in this case, Ms. Rose?
Yes, sir, I was. I did a wage investigation that included the last 12 months of reported income for Mr. Brown. That income correlates with a $1,594.18 gross income per month based on the last 12 months. It shows that based on that, health insurance reimbursement for this case would be $18. That puts his net resources at $1,410.23 per month. I'm showing that he has 3 other children, which would qualify or have his child support set at $208 per month.
Okay.
Right.
I also, with regard to the retro.
Yes, ma'am, please.
Okay, so I also reviewed his wage information back from the third quarter of 2021. Based on all of his wage information from that point through the quarter that would include May of 2023, I'm showing his total retroactive support would be $4,297 as a total for that retroactive time frame.
Okay. And I will pass, and I'm sorry, the time, and what time frame is that you used?
From September of 2021 through May of 2023, because the temporary order started current support in June.
Okay, I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Farrer, any questions of CSO Rose?
No questions for Ms. Rose, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Robinson, you're technically your own legal rep on this one, ma'am. Do you have any questions of the child support officer? I'm sorry, ma'am, you're muted.
No, I don't. No, I'm
Okay. All right, thank you very much, Ms. Robinson. Does Mr. Diamond, any other questions of CSO Rose?
No, Your Honor.
May she be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you very much. You're free to go. Thank you very much, Ms. Rose. And Mr. Diamond, you can call your next witness.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Call Sierra Robinson. Ms. Robinson, will you state your full name, please?
Sierra Robinson,
And who is the child the subject of this suit?
JCN Robinson.
Were you able to listen to the opening that I gave the court a few minutes ago?
I heard you.
And is there anything that needs to be corrected?
Nope.
Okay. The state pled for non-disclosure in your case. Do you have any safety concerns that the court ought to consider?
No, I don't.
So you're okay with your address being listed in the order?
That's fine.
Okay. Were you and Mr. Brown ever in a relationship?
No, we weren't.
Okay. Now I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, ma'am, okay, thank you very much, Mr. Diamond. Your witness, Ms. Farrer, thank you.
Good afternoon, Ms. Robinson.
Afternoon.
I just wanted to make sure my office did reach out to you with regard to this case. Is that correct?
I guess so.
And you spoke with my paralegal, Courtney. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you told Ms. Thompson that you did not want to communicate with me or provide me with any information, correct?
Correct.
And I was not given the opportunity to meet with your child. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. And you know that you were ordered to cooperate with me and you chose not to do so. Is that correct?
No.
Did you get a copy of the court order that stated that you were to contact my office?
No, I did not.
Okay, so if that bears your signature, that is incorrect.
I haven't received the order.
The order from June the 9th?
I haven't signed anything. The last I spoke with, we were on court on Zoom.
But you
No,
were
she
in
did not
court.
sign off on the order. She was at the hearing, but she didn't sign off on the order. Thank you.
All right. Pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, then. Okay, at this time, Mr. Diamond, you have any other witnesses you wish to call, sir?
No, Your Honor.
How about Ms. Farrer, any witnesses?
No, sir.
All right, Ms. Robinson, I'm looking at making your final order pretty much like your temp order. I'm not sure what, so I'll ask a couple of questions. What kind of relationship has the father had with the child, Jason?
No relation. Well, when he first was born, he seen him and then he cut all communication, blocked us. He said he wants nothing to do with him. No relationship.
All right, so he hasn't been around you or the child since when, ma'am?
Maybe November 2021.
Okay. And you understand, is there any reason, and again, I know you're not a lawyer, ma'am, is there any reason under the law that the father cannot serve as a joint managed conservator? That doesn't mean he gets custody, it means he does get the right as a parent. But is there any reason that he could not serve as a joint managed conservator under Texas law, ma'am, that you know of?
No.
All right, so but again, by law, I'm supposed to name you both joint managed conservators, give you the right to decide domicile, make that right unrestricted. I got to order him to pay child support based on the data that the state's been able to provide. They've got his earnings for the last year and the time frame before that. So I'm looking at granting the child support based on the fact that the one child before the court, and he has 3 others, and ordering the current child support at amount of $208 a month and that's going forward, ma'am. Is there any legal reason or anything, any other testimony you would have that shows that I should order something different?
No.
All right, then. And the cash medical amount, again, due to the fact that he has 3 other kids, would be $18 a month, and that he owes you $4,200 and some change in unpaid child support. I'm looking at putting that down as a judgment in order him to repay you at that amount and an additional $65 a month. Do you have a problem with that, ma'am?
No, I don't.
All right, then. Here's the deal, ma'am. I've got to set up, I'm setting you, like I say, you up as joint managed conservator. I'm looking at ordering him to have as the joint managed conservator the right to have visitation, but because of his lack of interest and his lack of participation in the child's life, I'm looking at going ahead and I got to give him standard visitation, ma'am, but I got to do the break-in visits that I talked about earlier. He's ma'am, do you know what city he lives in?
He lives in Austin.
All right, that's close enough. I would make him have to visit, I would give him the first, third, and fifth Saturdays of the month from 1 to 5 for the first 6 visits that with you being there or your designated agent being there. He would have to give you at least 72 hours advance notice. And do y'all communicate with each other at all?
Not at all.
Okay.
Like I'm blocked.
All right, here's the deal, ma'am. I'm gonna, well, what you'll have to do, ma'am, and going forward, I'll order him to he have to communicate with you via app close. That's a parenting app. All you got is both available on Google Play and on iTunes. And you would have to go ahead and put it on your phone. And if you never hear from the gentleman, you never hear from him, but it's got to be set up that he's got to give you at least 72 hours advance notice if he wants to have any type of visitation under the court order, break in otherwise, and he has to do it through app close. Okay, so long as you've got app close on your phone, you're in compliance. All right.
Okay.
All right. So that'll set that up. Do you have any other children, ma'am?
I do.
How many other kids do you have?
3 others.
What's their last name?
2 living. 2 living.
What's
Johnson, Jackson, and Robinson.
Okay.
Besides Jason, there was another Robinson.
Okay. All right, then. I'm going to hold an advance of finding or changing the child's last name. Dad seems to be a total out-of-pocket person who hasn't been around. If he comes back in the next couple of years and shows the court some type of penance, I'll go ahead and look at maybe changing the child's last name at that point. But based on his behavior up to this point, and the fact he has another sibling already with that last name, I'm going to go ahead and keep the last name at Robinson until further order of the court. I'm going to order the child support, cash, medical, and retro as requested. I'm going to make the father, Mr. Brown, responsible for any and all court costs. And I will know for the record that the ad litem has fulfilled her duties in compliance with the Texas, with the rules involving ad litems and the Texas Rules of Civil Procedure. And I'll ask the state to prepare an order and circulate it. Ms. Robinson, if you don't sign off on it, the court will sign off on it, but I'm setting this stuff up as I just rendered. So, ma'am, again, you're the only non-lawyer here. Do you have any questions or anything else you're asking me to do, ma'am?
No, sir.
All right, then, Mr. Diamond, anything else, sir? Anything else I need to specifically rule on in your behalf, sir?
No, Your Honor. I think it's
How about you,
covered.
Ms. Farrer?
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, thank everybody very much for the hard work, and I appreciate everyone. I'll ask the state to prepare that order, and ma'am, you'll get it by DocuSign. Get it by DocuSign. You can actually download it as a PDF and keep that copy, but there will be a file copy once it's signed by me that you can pick up at the courthouse at any time. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. May
Thank you.
Mr. Robinson be excused, Mr. Diamond?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, ma'am, you're free to go and we're off the record.
Oh.
All right.